Hi guys, Keninaru here. I'm back for another video, and this time I teamed up with Erzzy and Crazyfellow to create this basic and lazy parent making guide for you all. Especially for the upcoming Cancer Cup, this is important because the difference between parent making for frontrunners and backliners are way different. So let's get right on to it. Alright, so most of the info are from Crazy Fellow's doc, along with his help in writing the scripts for our parent making bids. He also gave the green light before I started recording this. So you can support him at Coffee. You can check his work linked in the description. Alright, for the basics, blues are pretty much random between the 5 stats, so each stat has 20% chance of being selected. And the table here on the left side says that getting the stat above 1100 raises the 2-star rate to 70% and the 3-star rate to 10%. Okay, next are the pinks. These are really important for CM because they're pretty much one of the conditions for you to have a decent chance of winning. So it's decided randomly among your A or S rank aptitudes. So in this example, we have Rudolph with 5A aptitudes. So the odds are 20% for each specific one. So say if it's for long CM, you want long or turf, and you have a 40% chance cumulative of getting those pinks. So for example, Mateo would be 1 and 3 for mid pinks, and Mayano would be 1 and 5, just like Rudolph's. So the chance is always 10% for 3-star, 70% for 2-star, like 1100 stat on blue, and the rest on 1-star. So the takeaway is minimize your A rank aptitudes when chasing pinks, and pretty much it. This one's the tricky part, the whites. At minimum, you have a 20% chance of generating each white. If you have the gold version, the minimum is 40% instead. So each parent in your legacy with the same white will increase the chances up to 35% for whites and 70% for whites from golds. And double circle skills can go up to 45%. And stats are 5% for 3-star and 45% for 2-star. I meant stars, sorry. So if your UMA is double S rank or higher, this increases to 10% chance for 3, 70% chance for 2, but that doesn't really affect us right now. There's another jump at UE shown at a later table. But the key takeaway is if you really want a white factor, say straightaway split for this CM, have parents with that white too. Here in this example, I have a Mejiro Ryan parent and a Tokai Teo parent using that was used on the Rudolph that I showed earlier. So let's pretend that we want homestretch haste on the Rudolph and that alone. This is a visualization of the odds that are being boosted because the grandparents or the ancestors have that specific white. Alright, so this is the result. So my odds of getting that white for homestretch haste is 35%, 20 from the base rate, and 10% from all of the ancestors. And getting the white 1-star is 50% chance, 45% chance for 2 stars, and 5% for 3 stars. So it's a lot of RNG. So why is this important? So your parents and ancestors, I mean parents and grandparents, affect your overall inheritance event in runs, and it's a major factor in your ace runs. Those sometimes it literally decides if the run is good or bad. Say an example here on the right side. You can show that my double circle affinity example has a lot of white sparks procced, and the triangle affinity doesn't really have anything. It's missing 3 blue procs, in fact. So the table on the left are the base rates for proccing all of those stuff. And there is a factor for the UMA's compatibility with their parents. So there is a hidden number about that I will explain in a later video if you guys want to know the math behind it. So this is the part that I really wanted to talk about. It's lazy parenting. It's natural grandparent acquisition and parents using rentals for the other GP slot. So as you do runs, you will naturally receive 3-star parents eventually. So say in this example, you don't have to go out of your way for them. Most of my 3-star blues are from my regular team trials or CM runs, as you can see. And the whites are pretty much generic useful ones, because who would take a bad skill in your TT or CM runs anyway? So it really boils down on how many parent runs are you willing to do. Like, say if you're the type of player who only does 3 rentals a day, then like the advanced parent making stuff isn't really for you. But don't worry, it's still fine. But if you're the type of player who likes to do like 10 to 20 runs a day in UMA, then you can reassess that in the future advanced parent making video. But Erzzy made these approximations for your effort versus gains for the CM. Keep in mind there's only a few weeks between CM, so getting a very ideal parent is gonna be rough. I'll put the odds of getting a common one with 3-star blue, 2-star pink, there for distance, and a 1-star white at the end of the video. So keep a lookout on that. You can pause the video to assess this table that Erzzy made, and I'll move on to the next one. So getting a parent that's good enough to use is actually a much lower bar than most people expect in global, and it really boils down to your goal. If your goal is to get a high win rate as possible, you will need to spend lots of time parent making. High win rate, I mean like 90-95%, something like that. In advance, considering how short the gaps between CMs are on global. But if your goal is to get to A finals and roll the dice and like have a decent chance of winning finals, and this is with 60 to 80% win rate, as I've seen with my friends, so your standards can be really low. So let's take a look at the absolutely bare bones that Erzzy made as a parent in Gemini. Erzzy's one of the lazy players who isn't even willing to do 10 parent runs for a CM, even in JP. Oh my god, good times. And got this while training her debuffer. Then considered it good enough to justify not doing any parent specific runs. So it's pretty optimal. I mean, it's pretty efficient if you think about it. So she made her debuffer and parent in one run. Kinda lucky too, because she hit too long. So it's literally just too long and you 3 URA. What happened? You could definitely train for a 2-star stamina at least. And my personal note is ideally we'd also want both grandparents 3-starred in our desired blue, but in this case, Erzzy still doesn't have a 3-star blue and global. And at least 2-star on our desired pinks. I'm gonna show my example later. For Gemini CM, Maya is an exception because we want end closer. At least one end closer on one of the grandparents. Considering our numbers from before, the chance of getting long is 1 in 4. The chance of getting a stamina blue is 1 in 5, and the chance of it being a 2-star or better is 1 in 2. So 4 times 5 times 2 is 40. So it would take 40 runs on average to get a 2-star stamina long pink parent. Do you want to do 40 runs on a parent? If you do, the next video is for you, but Erzzy certainly does it. So even in my previous videos, you would see me stressing out that blues are really important. It's because the 2-star stamina would give roughly 36 stamina for the whole run. Let's assume that this is a significant number for us, especially that the stat goals are really high. If the URA white triggers, it can give plus 30 speed or stamina. I mean speed and stamina. The chance of it would be 9 times 1.25 because nature has 25 compatibility with Maya. And it's right around 11% per inheritance event. So it's not like grinding the 2-star is even that much better. You could do those 40 runs on the ace herself instead and get like URA procs at least once in those 40 runs. And if we wanted to aim for 3-star stamina, that's 4 times 5 times 10, which is about 200 runs. Not like that's not an exact math, but the estimates should be really close. Now you might be thinking, what about straightaway spirit? Surely you want to inherit that if you're bringing in closers. So a long plus spirit parent would be 1 in 4 for the pink, then another 1 in 5 for the white, and 20 runs, not as bad, but like it's still a 10-hour time commitment. if you think about it. Maybe 8 hours for the Blaster players. But surely you could just inherit it from your other parent within 20 runs of the actual ace. The consistency from a really good parent matters if you're really pushing your aces. But if you're settling as soon as you get everything, like Erzzy does, then training parents isn't really that valuable. Because the returns are just much lower. Because you don't really uh, do a lot of ace runs anyway. So, but if you're planning to do like 50 completed runs, like me and GPCMs, trying to maximize your acer, having better parents will make more of those runs viable and thus will have more value for you. But yeah, at some point I even did like around 100 runs to perfect my Marzensky for long CM where she was at meta. So, it might be a shock to you to see Erzzy's parent, but here's the result of that. So she did 8 runs for Mayana using rentals every day because she's the type of player who just uses rentals and dips. You can see the nice nature shown earlier and her deck, which isn't even MLB everything, but she still got a decent Maya. Definitely could be improved, but consider all odds considered, I mean all factors considered, that she wasn't really putting that much effort in. I think this is already amazing, already impressive, even. But that's what you have. I mean, that's what you get if you have really optimized trainings and just have a good game sense. Next, we can look at my parent that I made for CM. Slightly better, but it's 1-star wit, 2-star long, and 2-star Survey Spirit and URA finale. I also borrowed an Encloser Taishan to use as a grandparent, so my Mayano could get to end A. I just used my next available grandparent, even though it's gold ship, because I never really planned on bringing gold ship, man. But when I did 100 rooms with Maya alone, I said no, single ace might not be worth it. I needed to train her. But anyway, these are the results of that. Got a gold ship with almost capped speed, almost 1100 stun, and a bunch of skills. And Maya's also the same, but like slightly worse because she doesn't have long S and she's 1134 speed. Erzzy, Maya took 9 runs, and the gold ship took 2 runs. The other sides are also uh, rentals because I really didn't have time. I really wanted to make this video a while ago, but I couldn't find the time to start working on it. But yeah, I'm planning to do Daiwa. I'm just waiting for Plain Sky so I could inherit her ult as a backup Axel if all else fails. But should probably use the same deck as well. It's also important to mention that Gold Chip's also using the same deck as Maya here. But yeah, you can see that like these Maya and Gold Chips and Erzzy's example are pretty much okay for CM. I mean, they're nothing special. They're not the type that definitely can go for a 90% win rate, but like for 60 to 80, if that's our target, and like just have a decent chance of winning finals, I think it's pretty good enough for the time that we spent. So, in conclusion, you can still have a decent chance of winning CM races, even with low effort if you want to do something outside of UMA. Because right now I'm using those two UMAs like the Maya and the Gold Chip for room testing, and my current win rate is around 68% in rooms. In JP, 68% in rooms usually means 90% in the actual CM, but in global, I must admit the players are actually more stronger than what it was back then in JP because we had all of these information now. But yeah, better parents will usually help you get better UMAs, but these are the numbers. I mean, the number of expected runs to get an ideal parent or grandparent. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a 3-star blue. I mean, a 3-star stam or 3-star power. Just one stat that you're going for. And a 2-star pink can either be turf or long with a pool of 4, say like Maya. I mean, not Maya, but like let's just assume it's a pool of 4. Don't really care about that green. We'll talk about that in the advanced video. And let's say white number 1 is straightaway Spirit here. And let's assume, be generous, that all of the grandparents has it for that maximum odds. So you're expected to hit that specific run 50% of the time in 412 runs, and pretty much almost guaranteed 90% of the time in 1.3k runs. Like your overall odds of getting that is 0.168. Just thinking about it makes me just want to borrow a rental for that. But some people are gonna get it in 1 or 2 runs. That's the essence of this game. It's all about gambling. And those players can put it up as their rentals, and we could benefit from their high rolling. What an amazing feature, right? I wish we had more rentals here in EN. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll work on probably a room report video in a few days, but that should be quick. And please check out Erzzy's and Trifecta's channel. They're my very good friends. Thanks again to Crazyfellow for guiding us in making this guide. See ya.